Phenomenology, or an emic approach. The Phenomenology of religion school grew out of developments in European philosophy, which were concerned to explore the meaning of phenomena, those objects of our experience. Their concern was to explore them without trying to answer the unanswerable question of their relationship to things in themselves. That approach was picked up in the study of religion by scholars who were dissatisfied with reductionist approaches to religion that they felt ignored something important, namely the meaningful experience of the sacred. The human experience of meaning that is learned within a religious world, as Payton would call it, makes a special kind of sense to its insiders, who can talk about what the religious objects and symbols mean. To them, religion is a meaningful human phenomenon made up of a host of other meaningful human phenomena, beloved stories and texts, God or gods with whom people feel themselves to be in a relationship of protection or devotion or service, and so on and on. To study a world like that, the method of a phenomenologist tends to bracket their own commitments and accept the informants as a description of their world, an approach also called epoché. To focus on the comparison of core features that are meaningful to religious people, to use empathy or imaginative understanding to interpret what informants tell us, and to bring to all of that something we could call a hermeneutics of generosity. When it comes to bracketing, in particular, that requires scholars to set aside their own convictions about the reality or truth of religious truth claims, for the purposes of being able to listen to the insider and to treat the insider's experience as a phenomenon worth observing. The phenomenologist, in effect, asks the insider, "What does this phenomenon mean to you?" The focus in phenomenology on common core features privileges close observation of basic common elements and uses those as a basis for comparison, the comparison of counterparts. So there's a lot of classification or categorization that tends to go along with the use of phenomenology as a method. For instance, we might notice that baptism in Christianity and washing before prayer in Islam both look like they have the features of a bath. And similarly, this kind of sacrifice, this kind of sacrifice, and this kind of sacrifice all have common features. Empathy, the use of shared feeling, helps phenomenologists interpret the meaning of those common features, often by drawing on their own possibly similar experiences to allow them to have a bridge of meaning with something familiar and something unfamiliar. We might notice, however, that there's some tension between the need to bracket one's own commitments and the need to draw on one's own commitments in order to exercise empathy. On one hand, you're trying to set aside your own perspective and knowledge, but on the other, retain enough points of contact so that you know how that feels. The hermeneutics of generosity may help with this. It grants a lot of credence to the insider. You allow that the insiders know what things mean to them, how they experience their own religion, in part because the scholar knows the same thing and believes himself to be telling the truth in some important sense. Hermeneutics is simply a theory of interpretation, a theory that answers the questions, what are we looking at, and what should we do with it? In the hermeneutics of generosity, someone using the phenomenology of religions approach understands religion to be a unique form of human expression to be interpreted and understood.